can't do this all on my own. No, I know I'm no Superman. I'm no Superman.
Hello, welcome to the Complicated Podcast. I'm your host, Rafi. I'm here with Fantastic David,
Hello.
the Astonishing Seth, the House of M,
What up?
and the Occasional Catherine.
Hey.
See, I remembered...
I like that you're our house Rafi in this one.
I am? Why?
You stumbled on your words.
Did I?
Wah,
I
wah.
I
We
remember...
have it recorded.
Does that make me the host of him?
Yes.
Rock on.
Right on. You know how I remembered her name this
What is
time?
this? What- how?
I was thinking about that video game, Catherine. It's like,
jeez.
got it.
Is that good?
That game is a trip.
Oh, that's a pause. That's a pause.
That game is a trip.
That's a
I was
no.
just thinking
It's a
of the
good
title.
game, but it's kind of weird.
You know what else is a good thing, but also weird? All-Star Superman, written by Grant Morrison, with art by Frank Quietly.
Frank quietly.
There's a lot that has to be said before we get into the story of this.
Oh, jeez.
First of all, Grant Morrison...
Welcome to a two-parter. No.
No. So, okay, Grant Morrison's... He's weird, because he's a great writer.
Thinks you're weird.
He's a great
That's
writer,
not nice.
but... He's a great writer, but he wants us to exist in comic book form.
Okay.
In his writings, early on, he was like, alright, Grant Morrison, good writer, did Batman, did X-Men, made the Justice League cool after the 90s, did a lot of cool work.
Yep.
Then I think he did a Batman story where he basically canonized everything Batman did in the 50s and 40s by
Yep.
saying it was a drug trip that Batman took.
Wow.
Huh.
Okay.
And here's the thing about Grant Morrison, sometimes when he writes, he takes peyote.
Does he now?
Yeah.
That
Interesting.
explains a
He's
lot.
he's written a story called Multiversity, which in the story, the main characters use a comic book about their own universe to figure out what to do next. And on the covers of these issues, there's characters who are like, if you read to the end of this book, you're destroying this universe.
Kind of sounds like cheating.
It sounds a lot like that book, maybe it's just me, but that Cookie Monster book, there's a monster at the end of this book.
I have not read a Cookie Monster book myself since I was perhaps 3 or 4, so I don't know why you're reading a Cookie Monster
Maybe I was
Yeah,
reading...
get fucked!
I was reading at a 5th grade level, okay?
book. You
Smart-ass kid.
still? That you remember?
Still out of it. Yeah, I was doing that. I was ahead of the game.
I read
and then
this.
dropped right off.
I was ahead of my time, and then I wasn't.
That was a visionary.
Visionary. So Grant Morrison's weird, okay? That's
Yeah.
the first thing you gotta understand getting into this book. The other thing is that Grant Morrison wrote this as a collaboration between current Superman, which is current to say like 2007, 2006, and 1950s Superman. So there's a lot of shit in this book that's gonna be weird because it's based off stuff from the 50s and 60s.
Got it.
Are we...
It's not going to be
Strap in.
Superman versus the Viking level of
No.
weird.
No. That
There's
was
not going to be flaming swords just
No
randomly appearing in the side of my house?
Wah, wah.
no flaming swords that I remember.
Okay.
Okay.
Viking?
Aren't you
Me.
sad?
No Vikings. All right, it gets weird, but it doesn't get Viking.
Does he sneeze away a galaxy?
N-
Please.
No, but he does some pretty amazing shit. Okay.
Because he's the all-star.
Well, also because Grant Morrison really wants to push the fact that he is a Superman.
Got it.
He's a man who is super in every sense of the word.
Got it.
Man super.
The other thing,
Can he build me a porch?
yeah,
Okay.
the other thing, he could build it in like 3 minutes. But the other
Rad.
thing is All-Star
It's like
Superman. What is All-Star, right?
Uh-huh.
What is this new brand they're doing, right? Back then, in like 2005, 2006, around that time, DC kind of wanted a competitor with Marvel, because in the 2000s, Marvel was pulling themselves out of bankruptcy because they made a lot of bad business moves.
Mm-hmm.
And their good business move was starting another line of comics called Ultimate Marvel, which
Oh, wow.
was, let's take the Marvel Universe and start it over again,
Make it extreme.
but from the year 2000.
Yeah.
So instead of Peter Parker being a kid who grew up in the 60s, he grew up in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like 15, basically. Everything you know about Spider-Man now for like movies and cartoons came from Ultimate Spider-Man. It's really the only thing from Ultimate that worked.
Mhm.
But those were getting Marvel sales, and so DC was like, maybe we should do the same thing, but instead of retooling our universe, we'll use All-Star to tell kind of like definite, I can't remember the word for it, but like absolute stories, like pinnacle stories of these characters. The best, well-known characterizations and putting them in book form, and we'll get like all-star writers on these books, like Grant Morrison.
Got it.
Now the reason...
Get that guy that does peyote.
yeah, get that guy. He'll know what he's doing. The reason All-Star Superman was the All-Star line was this, and then All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder, written by Frank Morrison. And we're going to get to that in a few weeks. But to spoil something right off the bat, Frank Morrison's All-Star Batman was so bad, it killed the All-Star brand.
Rad.
They
That's almost
can't wait.
impressive.
Yeah. I'm not even mad. That's
they
impressive.
started doing another line of books
Whole
called
cheese wheel?
Earth One, which is much better. It's basically the same thing as All-Star, but better. That time around, they put Jeff Johns on a Batman book.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. The other thing about this is that I obviously have Volume 1. I know the full story, I just don't have Volume 2 on me. But I'll remember the other half of it. And, so All-Star was supposed to be, like, the kickoff of, like, hey, if you're new into comics and you want to pick something up that is, like, pinnacle, like, definite character, this is what you pick up. So,
Alright. Superman looks lonely.
he's just sitting on a cloud. He's got this face on him, like, bet you could do this. Bet you
Oh,
could
okay.
do this. You look
Okay.
upside down.
Yeah, looking at it upside down.
You
it
thought he
looked
was, like, looking down.
No, he's not even still. He's like almost fetal position. His knees are to his chest. He's like all curled up in a little ball.
I could fly.
You want to know what's my favorite part about that cover?
What's that?
He has to be flying. So he's flying in that position, slowly forward as
maybe he's
fast
just-
as the cloud is going.
He's made his body so light he can sit on molecules.
So he's just like, how extra am I gonna be today? I'm gonna sit on a cloud.
How extra am I going to be today?
Absolutely.
So the book opens at the sun.
What?
Bum bum the sun.
Oh, okay. We're not on the sun. It's
We're
at-
around the sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Alright.
at this point, Superman's been around long enough that he's able to equip the scientists of Earth, like the best scientists, with Kryptonian technology.
Okay.
And they are in a shuttle floating around the sun, these human scientists, studying the sun. And Superman's there to help them. And,
How rad of a job is that?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the center of our solar system later.
just going to look at the sun.
Yeah.
Just going to look at it really close. So they're sitting there, studying the sun, Superman's flying outside, and one of the scientists turns purple and gets really big.
Oh well. See, that's where you fucked up.
This guy right here. See when the scientist there is breaking out into a big, like, monster?
Ah, he's a big purple man.
He's the purple man.
So now he has some potentially incurable disease, and all the other scientists are trapped on the ship with him.
So what you do is you crash into the sun.
And
Job's
start
done.
over.
Three men are dead, but...
Okay, who
Whoops.
invited fucking Willy Wonka? Snafuing our
It's
operation.
Snozzberries.
But guys, this plump man is on purpose.
Oh.
Oh.
He was planted as part of this science group by Lex Luthor.
Oh
my
boy.
God.
Womp womp womp.
How
Walk, walk,
extra
walk.
is Lex gonna be today?
Currently, Lex
he's gonna
is...
snort some fucking Krypton dust. That's what he's gonna do.
That was Ultraman.
I know that was Ultraman.
Lex Luthor is working for the government at this point. He was a criminal, but the government's like, alright, Lex, to make up for all the crime you did, you're gonna work for the government. And behind their backs, he's using kind of like a VR system to control this guy who's turning big and purple.
As you do.
And he's like, you get this scene later where he's talking to the general, he's like, just give me a minute, alright? When I say something into the mic, he'll say it 9 minutes later, so I gotta make sure I time this right, because I'm next to there and I'm all bravado. But he's saying through this guy's voice, like, death, courtesy of Lex Luthor.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, but why? But
Wait,
why
so
go
this
through
is-
the
is
trouble
this-
of controlling a Hulk when he can just? Let
I
him
was just gonna say, is this a Purple Hulk?
No.
Bas-
Well,
Wait.
I wouldn't really go as far as
It's
like
just a big
controlling
purple
it.
boy.
He's a human bomb.
Okay.
Oh, he's gonna explode.
He's gonna go boop.
I was
You
thought he was
didn't
gonna
say
be
that.
like, I'm gonna fight you, but
Not
controlling
here.
with my VR shit. Aside from just letting it go fucking wild.
No, he's just gonna explode.
That's crazy.
Wait, when was this written? This is recent.
Uh,
So this is.
Yeah, this is hold on, I'm gonna find a date on it.
Oh,
What are you
no.
gonna say?
I could say something. I'm not gonna say it. Nope.
2006.
I'm good.
Ooh, 2006 is a wild year.
A wild year. So, Superman
It's an
goes
all-star
into the
year.
shuttle, like, to stop the guy from blowing up.
Yeah.
What he does is he uses his freeze bath to freeze him, and then he takes him out into the sun, and then just, like, pushes him down into the sun.
Superman just straight up kills a guy.
Oh, yeah.
Rad. That's
Well,
a good
He,
Superman.
he stopped being a man.
That's true.
He's a monster now. The rules say,
The fine print.
the fine print, unless it's human, we can kill it.
It's Batman's always fighting robots.
Yeah, so Superman pushes the dude into the sun, he blows up into the sun, nothing else happens, right? Then they return to the moon, because at this
Now
point,
the sun is a bomb. No.
at this point, Earth has bases on the moon,
Yeah.
courtesy of Kryptonian technology. And at the moon, the guy that leads the science team, who I don't remember his name, but like you can tell he's in
Dr.
charge
Science.
because he's got this like monochromatic
Oh,
vest.
I remember him from a Superman
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, they did an animated movie of All Star Superman, which is what you might remember him from.
Oh, shit.
Oh shit! So
It's like
Oh, this is
the
gonna
movie,
get.
but it's a book.
yeah,
Ah.
so the lead scientist guy is telling Superman like he's run tests on him. He's like, Superman, because you were so close to the sun and you get your powers from the sun, you like became double Superman.
You're like 2.
You're
but
like,
1.
you're like Ultraman. It's just, what?
You're now pushing against 20 quintillion tons. I'd say your strength is tripled at least, and we still haven't found your upper limit.
Huh.
And it's not only that; they ran like psychological tests on him, and Superman's more creative, he's more curious, and he's more inventive. So-
Superman just eats ass.
He's a Superman.
Yeah, he's even more super.
Some say limitless.
How do you test like how curious someone is? Like,
Through a test, through a mental test.
give
Alright.
me the mental test.
All right, here's a
Okay.
car.
Okay, it's a car.
All right,
All right. Well, yeah. Now I'm
Yeah,
fucked.
you're just normal.
So,
I
so
guess.
Superman, to test your curiosity, we placed a couple of plates of food for you. An apple, a banana, a booty, or a steak.
I thought you were gonna be like, since you're more curious and experimental, here's a banana sundae, a hamburger, a gay man, and a salad.
No, it gotta be the booty. Superman would go just as curious as he is, he just goes for steak.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I like steak. You know
But the
what?
booty's for dessert.
You and your booty agenda. So they measure Superman for all this stuff, and they also tell him, so Superman, you're like really good now. You're like even better than before, but you're gonna die. Superman's like, what?
You're rad, but guess what?
You got really good, but now you're gonna die.
Now you're gonna get real bad.
Takes out a gun. No. But I'm still bulletproof. You're right. No. Superman's cells became so accelerated by the sun, his cells are just gonna, like, explode, basically.
Okay.
Superman has overcharged solar radiation, and now his body's gonna just dissipate and
Wear
die.
your sunscreen, kids.
Yep. That's what
Does that
happens.
make Superman weak?
Huh?
If he puts sunscreen on,
Yeah.
does that make Superman weaker?
You know what? Maybe.
Can we just spray him with like a giant like that'd be
you-
the weirdest
you
looking
gotta
fucking
drown,
gun?
Drown him.
Yeah, drown him
in sunscreen.
In sunscreen.
I can't absorb solar radiation. Oh no. Now this is where it gets kind of weird because again, these human scientists are using Kryptonian technology to explore the cosmos, and as such, they are creating. Okay. They're creating humans from like test tubes and like science and shit, and they make like this giant blue guy, right? And their
Oh.
plan is to send him into space to explore shit.
That's
What's
just
the other
Dr.
blue
Manhattan.
guy? What's the other blue guy that was in that movie that had that like?
Oh, Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the penis pick.
Yeah, he won't fuck with him until like 2017.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, so they're creating like humans that big and also microscopic humans to explore the mysteries of the body. So these scientists are like
Mysteries of the body.
the mixed. The body's a wonderland, don't you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Go to the Pirates of the Pancreas, Morty.
yeah,
They're
but
really
but
rapey. We didn't skimp out on that.
suffice it to say, the scientists are getting really flexible with Kryptonian tech. Okay.
Yeah.
So Superman has to hurry back to the Daily Planet to be Clark Kent. And he goes there, and what's nice about Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely doing this Superman book is they really play up the Clark Kent being a bumbling buffoon. Because, like, there's a bit here where the reason he stumbles like this is because the guy behind him dropped his coffee. So instead of just catching it, he makes a circumstance where he would fall over, catch the coffee, and throw it back to him. Just to look like, oh, he's clumsy, but hey, he helps out.
Yeah.
Ain't that luck? He's playing up his luck. What are you doing, Sam?
No, wait,
I'll pause.
buddy. Now he's gonna put more of it inside of himself. I
So
love how he's looking around like.
at the government base, Lex Luthor's being arrested, and he's like happily being arrested because he knows the sequence of events he set up is what is going to kill Superman.
Yeah.
He's like, I've done it, boys. I've killed Superman.
did it. I killed the Superman.
I did it. And
It was me.
Superman no more.
Superman as Clark is walking with Lois Lane back to her apartment. The two of them aren't together. She doesn't know that he's Superman at this point. He accidentally bumps into this guy to save him from like a piece of a sign like falling off and hitting him.
Yeah.
So again, the guy's like, "Watch where you're going, you idiot!" He's like, "Whoa, that almost could have hit me."
That guy saved me.
That guy said he must be some kind of super person.
Superman.
Yes. So Clark is with Lois, and Lois is just talking, and Clark can't get a word in edgewise, and so he's just like, "Lois, I really need to tell you something." And then he undoes his shirt, and the Superman symbol's under that, and she like drops her groceries. I never knew.
Oh my gosh.
My word.
Lake gasp.
She's astonished. And then we cut to Lois in her car, being flown to the Antarctic by Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the natural progression.
Yeah, he wants to.
That's where his
he-
base is,
He
right?
knows. Yeah, that's what his base is. He knows he's gonna die, and he doesn't want the public to know about it. But he wants this chance to tell Lois how he feels,
This is me.
reveal his
did
secret.
Did they tell him that he was going to die and then they gave him an expiration date?
No,
Or, okay, so we don't really think he's going to die the next day.
they say like it could be in a few days or a few years, basically.
Oh.
But he
okay.
takes it as like I have to get this all. It's like his bucket list, basically.
Oh, okay.
Like most of this book is his bucket list.
All-star bucket list.
Bucket list starring Superman. But he flies Lois to the Fortress of Solitude because he wants to like have one last story revealing everything he has and everything he thinks, basically. And Lois is, of course, a reporter and also the girl he wants to get with. So, and like loves and stuff or something.
They go to the Fortress of Solitude so they can bang.
Like bang, nice one, M.
It's gonna be
Air 5.
Yeah.
Fortress of Solitude, more like
Fortress
of Rocket.
Fortress of Sex. So they go to the fortress, and this is really neat. So in the 50s and stuff, to get into the Fortress of Solitude, Superman had a giant gold key, just in the snow. And he was the only person strong enough to lift it up and unlock the door, then throw it, and
That's
then
my
get to his
favorite
house.
thing about it. Yep.
It's underneath a potted plant.
It's like in one of those shitty rocks.
Huge potted plant.
Really big. But no, so in this book, he has this golden key that's like regular size, and he unlocks the door, and they walk into the Fortress of Solitude. And Lois is like, "Didn't you have like a bigger key for this?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, well I changed it up. Like the big key thing was getting kind of arduous." And she's like, "Well now anyone can just get into your house if they have that key." And he goes, "Maybe." And then he lays it down on the ground, and he goes, "Pick it up." And Lois tries to pick it up. She can't. She lifts with both hands. Can't. She's like, "What? I can't lift it." And he's like, "It's made from a white dwarf star.
What the fuck?
What?
It's so heavy, only I can lift it."
That would like.
That would hurt to hold.
Look, he puts it on the ground,
Yeah,
and it
it's
leaves
Well,
like an
say-
indent in the ground.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's just like.
And his veins are like, and you can clearly see the struggle behind his hand.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like, you put a white dwarf star near a plant. Anyways,
It's just a piece.
it's just a piece.
Just a mere piece. The other thing is that Superman, again, this is Superman lore. He has robots in the Fortress of Solitude to like tend to everything.
Yeah.
And he tells the robots like, "Hey robots, go fix her car. I saw there was a leak a few miles back." And the robots are like, "Yeah, Superman." Boop 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 boop.
Fucking make us do useful shit, Superman.
Why am I not in the Justice League, Superman? Why
What's
is
my
Red?
purpose? You
why-
pass butter.
How come Red Tornado gets to be on but I don't? This is bullshit.
It's robotist.
Robot tend to my tendies.
So in Superman's Fortress of Solitude, he has, for one thing, he has a chess set made from like life
Made
size.
from life.
Made from life. You believe me?
I would.
From
There's so much
life-size-
weird shit in there.
From life-sized figures of like people he knows, like Bizarro and Batman and Brainiac and stuff.
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
He's got a giant penny, which I assume he stole from Batman, because Batman. used to have a
Yeah,
giant
Batman
penny.
had the giant penny.
He's got a sphere that travels through time.
What the fuck?
He's got an airplane.
How
with
does anything bad if he has that around?
Oh, sorry. He's got the whatever space shuttle was called the Columbia.
Wait, okay.
Uh-huh.
Let's just, so if he has a sphere that can travel through time,
Yeah.
could we not have just gone back and prevented that one scientist from getting on the ship?
He goes back in time in this book, not for that purpose though.
That seems like an excellent
I
purpose.
think he knows at least in comic book world,
Roll credits.
what a Flashpoint is.
Okay.
If he changes one thing, he might change everything else.
Yeah.
Comic books are weird about that. He's got like a giant robot. He's got the bottled city of Kandor, which is a city from Krypton that was shrunken and bottled by Brainiac that managed to escape Krypton's destruction. Which is always fucked up to me because it's like, Superman makes this big deal out of being the last of his kind.
Yeah, when there's just a bunch of them
He's
in a
got a
bottle
bottle
over
of them over there.
Yeah.
Like, if only there were other
What
Kryptonians
if he,
to
like,
understand my
Can he-
plate.
is it carbonated? Can you like shake it up, pop it open, and they just?
No, it's just like a little glass.
Yeah.
It's like a head in a jar.
Wasn't he like trying to figure out how to reverse that?
Sometimes he is.
It's just a weekend project for him, you know. He's just really happy he's the last Kryptonian.
Someone's like, "Hey, Superman, you want to go out tonight?" He's like, "I really got to work on that bottle." But all right, let's go. All right.
Alright.
Him and the Batman at the club. I don't have to do this. He also has the Titanic.
What the fuck?
What?
Yeah, he dug it up.
Some
Why?
Say,
He wanted it.
some say that Titanic's full is always full.
See, it's like in the background.
Just fucking. It's just like the
Okay,
idea
but
of
what-
Superman sitting there being like,
So you know how
Yeah, I want
like
the
we're
Titanic.
always like struggling to like bring the Titanic back up from the surface
Uh-huh.
and everything like that. He just casually lifts it up and he's like, "Oh wait a minute, these humans are struggling to bring it back up." Makes a replica, puts it there.
The fucked up part to the Titanic thing is later on, Lois and Superman will have dinner and the Titanic, and the robots serve the same food that was served on the Titanic from menus and
Yeah.
stuff.
It's really soggy.
But it makes you think, if he's in there having food, like, just, casually, what about, like, the corpses?
yeah,
There had to have been, like, bones, right?
yeah. There's probably a bunch of dead people in there.
Or at least,
Maybe
like...
he gave him like a proper
He
burial.
needed company.
I feel like we need more backstory on this. Did he
Superman
go back,
is fucked up.
well, we knew that. Get the
Or
pieces.
extra.
He welded it all back together,
He's got heat vision.
so
he
you
can
had
do
a
that.
full ship again, not just in decrepit pieces. And then he removed all the corpses, and sent them home to their appropriate families. He had
We can only assume. So,
UPS, right?
so Superman...
Shipped
Just FedExing the fucking.
So Superman gets,
Amazon,
like...
no. He's a man of class. It's Amazon Prime.
So Superman gets a bedroom ready for Lois to, like, get a dress on, prepare for dinner that night.
On the Titanic.
No. Yeah, on the Titanic.
That'd
yeah,
be
the dinner.
fucked up.
The room is not in the Titanic, though. But
Does
anyway.
he like reenact like the
Aw.
Leonardo DiCaprio scene? He was like in the very front of the ship.
I'm on top of the world. Wait a second. Flies.
But he also gives her this plant from Alpha Centauri 4, which is like a little green plant that makes music. Look, Superman is many things. He's a hero, he's a god, he's an adventurer.
He's an adventurer.
So-
He's a
instead
finder
of-
of things.
How would you
Instead of
ever-
giving her a music box, he finds a singing plant.
What if it was saying like horrible music?
What if it only sang like
What if it screeches?
that guy who's like
And a Tuvan throat singing.
you
There
got
you
a
go.
friend in me, that guy?
Yeah.
What if it's just that?
Yeah.
I'm a plotted plant.
How would you
Pick
ever
me
find
up.
out about that? How would you look that up? Plants that sing.
Well, he got it from Alpha Centauri
There.
4.
Yeah, geez.
Wow.
He's
No,
also...
I'm still stuck on the fucking city in a bottle.
This is basically
Like-
him being like, "Hey, Lois, come to my house. Look at all my cool things."
Yeah,
and
look
he's
at all
like,
the cool shit.
he's like a kid whose like uncle is like visiting and like
Yeah.
looking at toys and stuff.
Uncle, look
His
at my
uncle he wants to
toys.
bang.
Oh, Jesus!
Oh.
You
So
made
he's
it
trying to impress her
You
with
made it
material-
weird.
materialistic
Questionable.
items.
Yeah.
Well, he's also being really humble because he's got this like,
Is
like.
he?
Well,
Is he?
Listen,
I have the Titanic over there, but it's whatever.
I made a replica. I know
He's
you guys
got-
are struggling with something.
he's got
like
this
that.
retro like sci-fi space gun, and it shoots kryptonite rays. And she's like, "Why would you keep this in your house?" And he's like, "As a constant reminder that I am not infallible, that I
As a
that,
constant reminder that I'm only human.
that I can be
Tips hat.
hurt."
Anyway.
Tips hat.
Also, I
My
got
lady.
also got a suit made of a dying star.
He's got like a cube. I don't know what it is. He didn't talk about. He's got a cube of just space,
A cube of space.
like empty space.
Yeah, he does. What the fuck?
So it's just
I like how it
black.
has like a fucking like
Good.
keychain ring on the top
Oh
of
my
it.
gosh.
It's a cube of space.
Cube of
What the
space.
fuck?
You could say it's a space gem.
It's taking up a lot of space, though.
He's got this one
Dude,
room.
shut up.
He's got this room called the time.
Waste of space.
He's got this thing called the Time Telescope, which is a room with holograms that allows him to like pick up recordings from like the future and the past. From the future. And he's like,
wait, so recordings from the future. And the
yeah.
past.
He can't talk to people in the future.
Okay.
Unless
So
he
then
uses his
wouldn't
time
there have
travel.
been some kind of recording, again documenting the blowing up of a scientist from the ship from the future that he could have listened to?
Yeah. But it's just Superman. Like, at that point, it's like, oh, it's already destroyed. Like,
I just feel like if I was going to go on a giant, like, intergalactic cruise, I might try and listen to see if there's anything that was going to happen from the future.
He also has, this is something common about Superman that some people know. He's got a zoo of, like, alien monsters that have come to Earth and fuck shit up, and he puts them in the zoo, he feeds them, he cares for them. That's what the robots are for, too, for caring for the animals from the space.
Because, he's an animal lover.
Yeah, he is.
After he beats the shit out of them.
Superman, or superhero, god, adventure, animal lover. Okay?
Animal lover.
He's got this thing
But
called...
on top of everything, gentleman. No.
He's got this... He's got a room with what looks like a black tentacle monster just in the basement of it. Like, it's like a chasm, kind of like a walkway, and under it is this black tentacle monster.
Okay.
It's called the Sun Eater.
Oh.
It's an alien creature that eats suns.
Oh.
They've done that before.
And he says it's a baby Sun Eater. It's like an infant one.
Oh.
And Lois is like, so what do you feed him?
Sun's duh.
Sun's bitch. No, he's got this anvil and a hammer, and he makes small suns.
What the fuck? What do you feed it? Whack. Here.
And he throws the suns to the Sun Eater, and then it's grateful. I told you, I fucking warned you people.
This is the most extra piece of shit book I've ever seen in
Yeah.
my life.
Fuck Superman, alright?
Lois wanders by this room that has like a robot, and there's like panels on the wall showing like her bone structure and her body structure, and she's all sketched out. Like, what the fuck?
Wait, is it of Lois?
It's of Lois.
Oh no!
Interesting.
And
Get
she's
out.
like, a porn
Get out.
room.
That's
A
like
porn room?
That's murder shit right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You
Gotta
go
get
into
skin
some jackoff's home and he already has a skeletal replica of you. And like, fuck! All you needed was my skin. I'm out. Like,
And Superman's like, oh, don't go in there, Lois.
Wait, is that the kidney I gave away?
Like Superman's like,
You donated it to me.
Superman's like, Lois, you can go anywhere in this fortress except this room.
Oh, so she immediately goes in that room.
Has like really bad crayon drawings. Don't go in.
No girls allowed.
No girls allowed.
It is a blanket for it.
So they go and they have dinner inside the Titanic, and Lois gets pissed off.
I like how she sees
Yeah.
that whatever the shit that he decided to make, it was, oh man, I'm gonna make her bone structure.
oh.
I'm gonna draw her. And then she's still like, yeah, let's have dinner on the Titanic, whatever.
Well, they have dinner on the Titanic, and the thing is, ever since Superman revealed he was Clark Kent to her, she hasn't believed it. She's like, why are you and Clark doing this prank on me? And he's like, no, I really am Clark Kent. And she's like, well, that's impossible, because I'm a reporter. I would have found this shit out. He's like, I was really good about hiding it. And she's like, either I'm dumb, or you've been lying to me. And he's like, I've been lying to you. And she's also like, okay, well, what about that time you guys were both at the office? Like, Superman was at the office with Clark Kent. And he's like, oh, that was a robot duplicate of me.
What the fuck?
And she's like, okay, what about that time Superman got the key to the city and Clark Kent was there? And he's like, oh, Batman was dressed up as Superman for me.
What?
Yeah, Superman
What?
dressed up as, or Batman dressed up as Superman for that.
Imagine
occasion.
that conversation.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, Bruce, I need you to dress
gotta-
up as me.
gotta do
What?
that. Well, I like to imagine Batman and Superman just have like, what is it, an OU system where it's like Batman will sub for Superman,
Oh, yeah.
and then like Batman will do a crime thing while Superman dresses as Bruce Wayne does this
Yeah.
over here. It's like a charter
Just
system.
imagine like, hey man, I need you to dress up as me.
They got little cards that they have to stamp.
Yeah,
The 7th one's free.
it's your turn, man.
Yeah.
At some point, like Hal Jordan wants to get involved, and they're like, Hal, no, it's
No, it
it's
doesn't
our
work like
thing.
that,
Go sub for Barry.
Yeah. Your hair's brown. It just doesn't even
Yeah,
work.
use your ring, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but like,
Batman. All right, Hal. If you give me your ring. No.
and Lois is basically like, Superman, after all these years of lying to me, why should I believe you at all? And he's like, Lois, I can't. You just have to trust me. And she's like, and said with such conviction.
That's a shitty excuse.
And throws the glass, and she runs out.
Oh, so she does leave.
No, she's still in the fortress. She
Oh
just
my
leaves dinner.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get out of there.
But Lois is like, she's typing on her computer because like this whole time she's writing an article about Superman, right?
You think he's got Wi-Fi in there?
Yeah.
All right.
Every
I hope
Wi-Fi.
so.
He steals other people's Wi-Fi from space.
What, from fucking
Yes.
penguins?
No.
Like,
You got future Wi-Fi. Yeah, penguins. But she's typing on the computer, and she's typing on the stuff like, Superman's curiosity was increased. I know about that. But what if that also decreased his humanity? What if he sees us all as like puppets he can manipulate and experiment on, and I'm just the first one? What if this is something bigger? Like she's getting all conspiracy on her, right?
oh boy.
Meanwhile, Superman goes to, he calls the Mirror of Truth, which could be like mystical, but he goes to it, and it's like the fucking mirror from Who's the Fairest of Them All? That one.
Yeah.
Magic mirror.
Yeah, the magic mirror. It's
From
exactly what that
Snow
is.
White?
Yeah. He's got that basically, and he's like, "Magic mirror, how can I make Lois trust me?" And it doesn't say anything. It just shows in the reflection. He's still Superman, but he's also unruffling his hair and putting glasses on to look like Clark Kent. So it's, and again, when he becomes Clark Kent, he's all hunched over and kind of dumb looking.
So does Disney know that they did this?
It's Superman. We can't stop him. He'll throw a Titanic at us.
I'm just saying.
He can't
copyright.
stop, and he won't stop.
Copyright infringement. Magic mirror.
So Lois runs off to that room where
Yeah.
like her scans are, right? On the way, she grabs that Kryptonian ray gun to defend herself.
Nice.
Do it.
Shoot him.
And
Do it. Fuck
Just
Superman
said
up.
I just.
I know.
she runs to the room, and there's actually a sign on that room with the Lois scans in it that says "Keep out, Superman at work." Which is like, who's that for? Like, I know Lois is here now, but like the robots don't read. They're robots. Like, who else are you inviting over that you need a sign on your door?
Just like, again, Green Lantern just, aw.
Dang it.
Just outside.
And the whole time Lois is thinking like, if he does try to experiment on me, I have to kill him. God help me.
God help me.
And she runs in front of the door and she's like,
This is Lois
Superman,
Lane signing off.
Superman, come out. And the door opens. And instinctively she shoots him with a kryptonite ray.
As you do.
And he goes, ow. And he's like, well, that wasn't the way I wanted to find out if I was immune to kryptonite, but there it is. So he's immune to kryptonite now.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, he's become so powerful, kryptonite doesn't hurt him anymore.
The biggest sigh
How
ever.
convenient.
Yeah. Right.
What?
And Superman explains to her, like, listen, I know this is all weird for you, but when this room opened and you first walked in, there was some gas that leaked out, right? And she's like, yeah. And he goes, I'm ad-libbing here, but like, that science gas has effects on humans that wouldn't have an effect on me. It makes you more paranoid and schizophrenic, and it makes you think things. So the reason she was getting all, like, freaked out about Superman being, like, experimenting on people,
Because science gas.
because the fumes got to her.
Okay, this is
Or-
hostage bullshit where he's just telling her shit now to make her to be like, no, you're the paranoid one. I'm not doing anything out of the normal. I don't have a skeleton of you standing right here.
And then, this whole time, by the way, it's Lois's birthday, right?
This is a shitty birthday present.
And Superman's like, in this room, I've been working on your birthday present, and I wanted to keep it a surprise, so I didn't want to show you this room. The reason I've been studying your body, scientifically,
Body.
is because I'm developing this serum that would allow you to get all of my powers for 24 hours. And I had to make it specific to your genetic makeup.
Ooh.
So he has this yellow serum and he has a super suit to give her. And he goes, for one day, you get to be Superwoman. And immediately she's like,
I'm
yes, I'm in. Oh my god, am I in. She's like, so this is gonna be all your powers for a whole day. Bring it on. She drinks it. Now, again, this is Superman of, kind of the 50s, kind of the 60s. In Metropolis, beings from the subterranean world show up. And they're these big pink lizard people.
Hey, look, it's Alden.
No. His shoulders are not that broad.
His name is Krull, and he wants to eat people.
He is Krull and he eats. Got it.
So Superman and the new Superwoman show up.
Yeah.
And by the way, he designed the costume for her. Notice how it doesn't have pants? Because he knows what he likes. In the corner, somewhere. And Lois is never just like, hey, I noticed
There's no
no
pants.
pants to this.
She just kind of accepted it.
Kind of drafty. But they go there and they go to stop Krull, and they see there's already someone fighting Krull. And it's
Green Lantern getting his ass kicked.
no, it's Samson.
Oh. Why the fuck is Samson here?
Why not?
Samson and Atlas are here.
Okay.
They show up. Samson throws Krull into space, and apparently, like they've met Superman and Lois before, because they show up and they're like, "Ah, Lois Lane, it's good to see you again." They're like creepy bro dudes in this book. But they show up like, "Hello, Lois," and meanwhile, Superman is like, "Krull's lungs just burst," and he flies into space to save Krull.
Oh man, the lizard guy's dying. Shit.
But yeah, like Samson and Atlas, like they show up, and we learn here that they're time travelers, and they've crossed paths with Superman before, and they're like Bill and Ted if they were like gods. So Superman's like, "Gentlemen, if you don't mind me, the ladies with me, I'm bringing Krull back to the Subterranea, to his dad, because we see it later. Subterranea is like a kingdom basically in the middle of the earth."
Okay.
And the guys are like, "Oh, who says Lois has to go with you, Superman? How about we show feats of strength and impress her and take your girl, yo?" And Superman's like, "Guys, I'm not doing this. Like, it's her birthday. I'm taking her on a date." And they're like, "Nah. We're gonna wear our Letterman jackets and steal your girl."
Guys, we're on a date.
No.
Better.
Better. We're like you, but handsomer.
I'm you, but stronger.
Krull's lungs just burst. Just like they're just sitting there like they're just like, "Yeah, Lois, what's going on?" They're just like flexing at her, and like Superman's just, "Oh shit."
BRB.
The best
Yeah.
part is
Hang
were
on.
they after Krull?
Yeah, they're fighting Krull, and
I'm just imagining Krull's there. Okay, guys, can we take one thing at a time? Are you gonna deal with me, or are you gonna go fight over who's gonna take Lois on a date? Pick one.
My lungs hurt.
And Lois is just like, "Honestly, if you have to pick between me and the snake guy, I'm offended." But the four of them go to Subterranea, where the king of the Subterranea is like, "My son will be punished for his crimes. Yes. The Sub-Tyrannosauri have ever feared and admired you, Superman." But Krull speaks of him goaded into attack by Metropolis, by man Samson. That's how they talk. While Superman's talking to the king over here,
Fucking snake people.
Samson is like, "Oh, Lois, by the way, I've caught something on my travels you might like," and he hands her this necklace. And she's like, "Oh, a necklace." He's like, "Yes, I found it during an Egyptian dig back in the times of the pharaohs." Not a dig, but
Yeah.
he went to the time of the
Excavation.
pharaohs. No, he went to the time of the pharaohs and just took this necklace.
Oh.
He's like, "A gift to you, Lois." And Lois...
Wait, so they can go back in a comic book. They can go back in time and get a necklace from a pharaoh.
Yeah.
But, okay, this is upsetting.
Uh-huh.
And so...
Welcome, Superman.
This is dumb.
And so...
Everything is upsetting.
This is dumb.
And so Superman is like, "Lois, you can't be like falling for this shit, right?" Like, and she's like, "God, it's my birthday, Superman. Just have some fun."
We're
God,
going
it
out
flies
drinking.
off.
You're not invited.
Gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, fuck. And Superman is like, "Samson, I'd really appreciate if you just laid off." And the two of them are talking privately. And Samson's like, "Oh, I would lay off, Superman, but I'm a time traveler." And he pulls out this newspaper saying Superman has died, like the death of Superman. And he's like, "It looks like
Foreshadowing another
it
book.
won't be. She won't be your girl much longer." Also flips his hair because it's Samson.
Yeah.
And the necklace starts glowing on Lois, and Superman's like, "Samson, where did you steal that necklace?" And he goes, "I might have stolen it from like a Sphinx god." And so the Sphinx god shows up.
What?
I might have stolen it from a stick.
Wait, okay, hang on.
It
So
could
hang
have
on.
been
Yeah.
for one.
This started off. Lex Luthor is a part of this
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, he's still in this. Yeah.
This started off with there's a purple bomb man.
Yeah, we got a while.
Now we're at Sphinx God.
He shows up and he's totally like, "Return the slab, return the slab."
Suffer
He looks
my
like a potato.
curse.
Yeah, he shows up and he's like, "Return the necklace or die." And Superman's like, "Lois,
Why not
no."
just take the necklace and kill her at the same time?
No, he puts Lois into a state of both life and death.
Explain.
So she's Schrodinger's cat?
Yeah, it's that.
Oh, okay.
She is both dead and alive at the same moment in time. And the Sphinx is like, "I'll return her to you, Superman, if you answer my riddle."
course.
Oh,
because it's a
Jesus.
Sphinx. And Superman's like, all right, hit me.
Just pull the chair out. All right.
I'm really good at this.
Pulls out a flask.
I don't think you understand. Me and Batman spent a weekend trying to find out Riddler's latest crime spree. I got really good. Robin was teaching me some shit. I got really good at riddles.
They gave me a beginner's riddle.
Also, I'm Superman. Fuck you.
Punches him out. You know what? You're gonna fucking break her back because
So-
you're a goddamn nerd.
So the riddle is, what happens when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object?
Oh.
And Superman is like, they surrender. And the Sphinx is like, response acceptable.
What?
And so Lois is freed, and he takes the necklace and fucks off.
What was the response?
They surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And Samson and Atlas are
Man.
like, so Superman, you still want to fight for Lois? And Superman's like, no. And then Samson is like, even the S on his back is yellow. And then Superman turns, and he's like, all right, that's enough out of both of you. They go to this island, and Atlas and Samson both arm wrestle with Superman. Superman's got both arms up. Each of them are using one arm. And they're here. We'll do
Wait,
this.
is Lois
Okay.
wait? So Lois was saved, right?
Yeah,
And it's her birthday,
yeah.
and she decided that she wants to go to this island and watch all these guys arm wrestle.
Well, they had to go. Well, see, they have to go to the island because as they arm wrestle, the structure of the island starts cracking. It's not like a huge island. It's like a rock formation basically in the middle of the ocean. But as they arm wrestle, the rock formation is just falling apart. And then he breaks Samson's arm, and then he breaks Atlas's arm with how strong he is.
Neat.
He's like, ah! And I think Superman said something before about, like, I'm basically invincible. Like, Samson, all I need is a pair of scissors. He's like, shut up! Don't talk about that!
Oh gosh.
Don't talk about my famous hair! But, yeah, so they have dinner in Atlantis. Superman and Lois.
Oh, fucking Aquaman's just in the back, like, dude!
Actually, they're visiting...
Call first!
They're actually visiting Poseidon, because he exists.
Okay.
And then they go to the moon, and then they make out. And honestly, it's one of the cutest panels in the book. Like, without any context, it's pretty charming. So romantic.
Duh.
Aww. And so,
Yay.
So sorry, like that. You can just hear the sarcasm.
and so
love
begins,
Ripping.
and so begins the oddly Grant Morrison put these adventures in this book arc of the book. Where the first one is about Jimmy Olsen, Superman's best pal, photographer for the Daily Planet, and he has this column he writes called, what is it? Something for a day, basically. And every article is him taking over a position for a day. So, like, he's a trash man for a day, he's a head chef for a day, he's an astronaut for a day, he's America's sweetheart for a day, which involves him cross-dressing.
Like you do.
Like you do. And he's got this girlfriend named, Lucy. And Lucy is, like, totally with him because of his fame.
Yeah.
And she's like, your last article bombed, Jimmy. You know, Rock Hansen invited me to Frankenstein on Ice. I think I might go with them.
Oh yes, Frankenstein on ice. That's
Oh,
man, guys.
Of all things that should be on ice, that
Seth,
shouldn't
keep that
be
in
on
mind.
ice.
That's a really good date.
And Jimmy's like, what? I'll show you.
Okay.
And so he becomes lead
Frankenstein.
scientist for a day. So the guy with the multicolored vest, he becomes that guy.
Ah.
And he goes there, he's like playing with all the technology they have, he's fucking around. He walks by this room called the
He makes
Doomsday Room. In it holds a formula that'll turn you into Doomsday
Why would you have that readily available?
if Superman goes evil.
What the fuck?
They're in this other room where Jimmy is an idiot, so he falls over and almost falls into a vat of chemicals.
He
he
becomes
has-
the next Joker.
He has this thing called, he's got a signal watch.
Yeah.
It emits a signal that only Superman can hear. And he presses that, he's like, Superman, Superman! Mega Man. And Superman flies to the base, and he saves Jimmy. But in the chemicals, they're like pulling an element out. The element is called black kryptonite.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that one going to affect Superman?
Yes.
Good.
So,
Nerf this motherfucker.
so Superman and Jimmy are
Like,
in
he's
this
already
room.
destined to die. You just want to kill him sooner.
Kill him fast. Do
Superman and Jimmy are talking in this room, and Jimmy's like, "Wow, a new type of kryptonite. Well, it's a good thing it didn't affect you, huh, Superman?" And Superman's like,
it. Superman's
"Yep."
like, ah! Just like-
Bleeding of all orifices. Yeah, no, I'm fine.
No, Superman's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally fine." And then he's eventually just like, "You know, Jimmy,
I'm not fine. No.
it's a signal watch. It's for emergencies, and I know this was an emergency. It just seems like every time something goes wrong, you're pressing that watch, like it's a toy." Like you can just press it whenever you want, and I'll show up no matter what the problem is.
But-
it seems like you're abusing the watch that I gave you, Jimmy. And his voice,
Damn it, Jimmy!
his voice box is turned black.
Oh.
His voice box turned.
His like voice
His
bubbles.
speech bubbles.
Sorry, his speech bubbles they
Oh,
turned
okay.
black.
All right.
And he's like,
Jimmy, you're being a little bitch.
no, he gets really
Jimmy,
angry.
fuck.
For sake, Jimmy.
And Jimmy's like, maybe that kryptonite did get into. He's like, oh no, it didn't affect me. It just made me worse. It just made me opposite. It just made me bad. And you know what? I think I like that. And he shoots a laser at Jimmy's feet.
Oh shit!
So the black kryptonite is making Superman evil.
Doomsday Room.
And Superman's like, you know
Isn't
what?
it convenient that the Doomsday Room
Yeah.
is right next door?
Yeah.
And Superman's like, you know what? I'm
Superman
gonna go
is
to Earth.
Evil Room. Doomsday Room.
Superman's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Earth. There's a lot of bugs there.
I'm gonna fuck shit up.
So he goes to Metropolis, and like sure enough, he's just like breaking shit. And the science people send like their like test tube people to fight him.
Test two people.
He like easily bests them. Disposable putties. Superman lands. He's listening to the car, and Jimmy shows up a little bit later, and he's like, Superman, I can't let you embarrass yourself like this.
What?
And Jimmy's like, you. And Superman's like, you. What is it with you?
You son of a bitch.
You are.
And Jimmy pulls out this needle gun. And Superman's like, you really think that can hurt me? And he's like, it's not for you, Superman.
It's for me.
I'll be Doomsday.
Jimmy Olsen Doomsday. Yay!
It's like Amadeus Cho, like 10 years before.
Hey!
He looks like Doomsday, but he's got orange hair.
That's
Looks
fantastic.
awful.
What? And the formula is gonna like wear off, I think, in a while. Oh wait, no. The president is like, all right, look, I'm gonna launch a nuke at Superman unless this Doomsday guy can like beat him. And he's like,
He just kicks his feet up. He's all right.
and the science one of the science people is like, we only need 30 seconds, Mr. President. But Superman and Doomsday fight, and they fight, and they fight, and they fight until the black kryptonite effect wears off on Superman. Superman's like, Jimmy, what happened? He's like, and he gets really small again. It's like, well, that was fun. That was Doomsday for a day.
Oh, and he's just fine.
Yeah, he's just fine.
He just turn into a giant bone monster
Yeah.
and just be fine.
I mean, he ripped his shirt.
It's a really nice shirt.
Reasonable. Okay. I'm
And
sorry I
Oh, I
questioned
gotta go
that.
back to Banana Republic.
and while that happens, like these two people walk by, and they see Jimmy, and they're like, wow, you saved everyone from evil Superman. Hey, I run that Frankenstein on Ice show, and I'd like to give you 2 free tickets for you saving my life. She was like, all right. And he goes home to Lucy. He's like, hey, Lucy, still
what I
want to
got.
see Frankenstein on Ice?
Look what I
She's
got.
like, oh, Jimmy, I love you for materialistic reasons.
So where's Lois? Like, did he just ditch
Yeah,
her on her
Lois is
birthday?
gone.
He was looking for. He was actually in Metropolis looking for Lois.
I thought that they were making out on the moon,
They moved on from that.
and then
She's not super anymore.
That
She's probably
was
doing her
Sex
job
on the
again.
Streets.
oh, so then we just cut away from that, and now it's another day.
Yeah, I told this is the part of the book where it's a bunch of individual stories Grant threw in there, with the B plot being Superman's eventual death. And again, he's going through
Seems like that should be your main.
he's
plot.
going through basically like trials essentially.
Yeah.
And the next one that he wants to take part in is so Lex Luthor's being sentenced to death. Finally,
Ah, here we go.
finally.
Finally, we get a good Superman villain. No.
And and Lex is being held in a maximum security prison, and Superman, as Clark Kent, goes there to interview Lex before his death, to fully understand him. And it's half of it is him actually doing a story, the other half is him just trying to understand Luthor before both of them die, basically. And it's funny because they give Lex Luthor a lot of freedom in this prison, almost like he runs it without running it.
yeah.
Because he's like inventing like machines in his prison room. He invents this little green robot that like reads what is it? It's like a robot library essentially. It reads all kinds of works like like Ulysses, A
an
Tale of Two
Audible bot,
Cities.
yeah.
It's Audible, but a robot. And again, as Clark Kent, he uses his clumsiness to save Luthor from electrocution. Because like he trips over a wire and knocks the electricity gun out of Luthor's hand. It's like, huh?
Could
Electricity gun.
Could just save the taxpayers.
Right?
Right there.
And
Just
Luthor's like, that outlet could have like shocked me to death. Huh? Weird. All right, let's go over here and do this.
Neat.
But the two of them go to this gym in the prison, and Lex is like lifting weights while he's running on a treadmill, and Lex is like, this is one of the best depictions of Lex Luthor, because he's not answering any questions Clark's asking. He's basically just talking to hear himself talk.
Yeah.
Lex is just like, so what are you writing about me in that little panel there, Clark? And Lex takes the notebook. He's like, a bunch of scribbles. It's some kind of code. I can decode it. Superman's like, Lex, it's shorthand. It's just, my mother taught me that. He's like, shorthand. I'll have to learn that in the time I have. Throws the notebook back. And he goes and he lifts some weight. And he's like, he's telling Clark, like, he's basically giving the Superman spiel of like, if Superman wasn't around, mankind would be stronger. Like, we only get stronger because of suffering and tragedies that happen to us. But Superman, it's like, there's a boulder in the path of human evolution. He's giving him that whole Lex Luthor speech that every good writer gives Lex Luthor. And
he's monologuing.
Yeah, and Lex is also like, if Superman wasn't around, maybe Lois Lane would notice you.
Stings.
Clark's like, pushes up glasses. And he's also like, here, Clark, feel my muscle. And Clark's like, and Lex is just like, I had to work for everything I have. My business, my body. This is pure muscle gotten to me, not by alien genetics, but by hard work. Which is fucked up, because it's like, yeah, Superman's buff, but he worked on a farm since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, just saying. Just saying. They go to the cafeteria area, and one of the criminals there is the Superman villain called the Parasite, who I really like. I think he's a really cool, obscure villain. He's another purple dude.
He's just a
Feel like
just
there's
a
a
fat
theme
purple
here.
boy.
Feel like there's a theme.
He's the Parasite's power is that he's kind of like Rogue. He touches you, he absorbs your vitality and your strength, and he becomes stronger. In some versions, he can copy your powers.
Neat.
And he's in prison, and he wants Luthor dead because Luthor betrayed him in the past, and so no one knows why, but he starts getting power. And at this point, the reason he's getting powerful and getting stronger and buffer, swelling out, is because Superman's power is doubled to the point where even being around him, Parasite can just leech off his power.
Huh.
And of course, no one knows Clark Kent is Superman, so they're like, why is he getting so big and swole? What's happening? And so Parasite gets really big. He's like, I need all the power I can get. And he's like, it's over by Lex Luthor. And so he starts chasing Lex.
Mm-hmm.
And again, smoke grenades are going off from the wardens and stuff. And what is it Superman as Clark, he trips and he falls and he drops his glasses. And Lex is like, come on, you idiot! And Clark's like, oh no, I gotta get my glasses. He just put these back on. Heat vision to the water tank to pull out the gas. And then he and Lex are running, and again, he's just clumsily saving his life. He turns around and he sneezes, but he sneezes to shoot ice and freeze some of the prisoners. And then, what is it? They're sneaking around this room, around this corridor, and Superman's like, oh, the monster's causing an earthquake! Steps on the ground until an earthquake happens, and makes Parasite fall over. And then the earthquake causes him to fall over, debris falls on Parasite, he's basically out cold. Or, kind of out cold. And Lex takes, this gun that he stole from a cop. And he goes over to the Parasite and starts shooting it and hitting it with the gun and kicking it. He's like, that's right, remember who I am. Nobody threatens me. I'm the man that killed Superman. And Lex is and Clark is like, dude, Lex, back off, we gotta go. And so Lex alright, come with me. And they go back to his cell room. And he's also got a pet monkey dressed as Superman in his cell.
How many times have I sighed? We really should have kept count.
Don't know.
He's really smart, though. And he dug a tunnel to the bottom of the prison that is on like a water, like an underground river. And Clark's like, you dug this tunnel, how? And he's like, oh, that robot that reads like books and shit, it can read at such a high frequency, it basically drills through shit.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It uses sound to drill through shit. And Lex is like, Clark is like, Lex, if you built this tunnel, why did you never try to escape? And Lex is like, oh, I never wanted to escape. I know I have to die. I'm not opposed to that.
Mm-hmm.
And Lex is like, I just wanted everyone to know. I didn't want you to know, Clark, that I could have escaped this whole time, but I didn't.
So he's suicidal?
I'm gonna die anyways.
Yeah, that's suicidal.
I just
though,
wanted to
I
prove
feel
I could get away, but out of my own moral standings, I didn't run.
I don't...
I'm better than you.
Don't you get it? And during the fight with Parasite, seemingly his eyebrow came off.
Lexus?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which one?
Stick-ons?
His right is hers,
Velcro?
hers left.
Does it matter?
Yes.
They
If
go.
he has the right one, or if he has the left one, then it means he's gay.
Is that how that works?
With earrings, it does. I assume the same thing applies to.
So they go down to the river, and Lex has this niece who's like dressed in like goth clothes, and I think her name's like what the fuck?
Wait. So they're going down to the river
Yeah.
through the tunnel
Mhm.
that Lex could have escaped through.
Yeah.
But said he wasn't going to.
Mhm.
But then he just did.
Well, no, he's going down there so Superman can meet the niece who's going to take him on a ferry boat down the river to escape the prison. But
So-
Lex isn't going to go.
Oh, okay.
It's a river Styx metaphor.
I'm pretty sure that in prison, if you go anywhere besides the designated areas, like through a secret tunnel to a river,
Well, don't worry, because you know how Superman, Lex's eyebrow like came off, it's like gone. His niece looks at him and goes, Lex, the eyebrow, and he's like, oh, excuse me, Clark. And he turns around and he draws an eyebrow back on, like he draws his eyebrows. Because assumedly this is the version of Lex who
Oh yeah.
is bald and hairless because of kryptonite, like cancer, basically. Or like,
Yeah.
not cancer to the point of dying, but cancer to the point of losing his hair. But he draws it back on. He's like, what are you looking at? And Clark's like, nothing. I'm just completely blind without my glasses. So Clark leaves on the boat to escape the prison. He knows everything he has to know about Luthor and his ways.
why did he have to go through the tunnel to escape the prison? He could have just come in the way he
It
came.
was the riot. It was Parasite and the prisoners, and we don't want to get wrangly. And how else are we going to do that metaphor of the river Styx? So,
The river steak.
the next here's a plot. We flash back to the days of Superman and
How many
Super-
here's a plots do we have?
After this one, like 4.
Ah,
What?
this book is so extra already.
It's so long.
Don't worry, a few of them aren't
Yeah.
as long as the other ones. So, in this next one, it's Superboy.
Okay.
Back when he was like 16 or 18, between that age, and he is in the Superman costume,
Super team.
and he's helping out in Smallville,
Super
being
angst.
a superhero there,
Super angst.
and he's hanging out there. No, that's Connor Kent.
Yeah,
Super
it's
Angst.
Connor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Better be
But we
okay
can
with
with it.
So, what is it? So we flash back to there, and it's the whole thing about like Pa Kent being proud of Superman or Superboy at that point, and being
But
like,
Ma
there's-
Kent isn't. She's
No.
just disappointed.
No, Ma Kent is like, oh, Pa, you're slowing down there. Remember what the doctor told you about your heart? And he's like, I just can't help being so happy for my boy.
Guys.
Okay, it does. And in the middle of the day, Krypto's also in this part of the book. His super dog from Krypton. Krypto the super dog. He's from Krypton.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got all the powers of Superman, and he's also a dog. So, Superboy and Krypto are hanging out, and these monsters show up out of nowhere, and they're called the Time Eaters.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of Stephen King's Langoliers?
Yes.
It's that.
Oh.
They're Langoliers, but they're
Oh,
called
no.
Time Eaters.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
And what they do is they eat time. Now, around that same time, these 3 visitors came to Kent's farm,
Mhm.
and they're supposedly World War II veterans who are seeking work on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
And Pa Kent is like, "Sure, I trust you." And there's like a young man. There's an older man with like he kind of looks like a mummy. He's got wraps around his face. He got injured during the war. And there's like this short old guy. And when the Time Eaters show up, Superboy tries to fight them, and then these 3 other Supermen show up.
Mm-hmm.
And those 3 other Supermen are the Supermen that are the people that showed up on the farm to be like, "Hey, we need work."
Mm-hmm.
One of them is like okay. You guys remember Mr. Mxyzptlk? Who is
No.
he's the short fifth dimensional imp that'll fuck with Superman.
Oh yeah.
He's like Batmite but for Superman. And instead of loving Superman, he's like, I'm just gonna fuck with you. And I'm gonna come back every 90 days. And that's his thing. In order to make Mr. Mxyzptlk go away, Superman has to trick him into saying his name backwards. So that's his lore. But this imp from the fifth dimension is a Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And all three of these people are Supermen, and the idea is that they're from this group called the Legion of Supermen, which, in the far future, Superman's progeny and his powers will grow and spread onto other people, and there will be a legion of Supermen from across time, space, and dimensions, who are all part of a group.
How's that possible if he dies?
Exactly. You'll find out at the end of this episode.
Oh.
Oh boy.
So these three Supermen show up, and they're like, Clark, you can't get involved, because you can't die, because if you die, we go away. And then he's like, no, but I have to fight. And they're like, no, you can't fight. Back off. And he's fighting them anyway. And they're fighting the Time Eaters, and then Clark stops, and he's like, wait a minute. Dad's heart just stopped. And he flies back to Kent Farm just in time to see Pa Kent dying of a heart attack.
Aww.
And that's something that they do sometimes in the Superman movies, in certain comics, and it's one of those Superman moments where I'm like, you need to have this.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, it's the one thing Superman can't stop. So his dad dies of a heart attack, and he's sad about it because he realizes he could have had a moment with his dad before his death, but he was too busy fighting a problem. And that's like his lesson, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we learn later on is that before Pa died, he like stood on the farm and had a conversation with the guy with gauze around his head.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's talking to him and just like having a really like, kind of like man talk, right? And then by the end, Superboy goes back to the farm. The three Supermen from the future get together to go back through a time portal. And the other two Supermen are like, we hope you got what you got, to the guy with the wraps around his face. And he unwraps it, and it's current Superman, who went back in time with the Legion to have one last conversation with his father.
Interesting.
Again, because it's on his bucket list. And
Oh,
here's the other fucking thing.
it's so extra.
They're gonna go into the time portal, and then a golden Superman steps out of the time portal.
Fuck!
And Superman is like, this Superman here is like God Superman, right?
Yeah.
Like extra God.
They're
Oh,
all
dear
they're
God.
all
no,
extra.
no. He's Super Saiyan. He's Super Kryptonian Superman. Super Kryptonian. This golden Superman comes out, and Superman is like, well, I'm really happy that my legacy continues through all of you. I assume you're the one that put it together. Like, what time are you from, Golden Superman? And Superman's like,
I'm from the rad time.
you'll find out one day, buddy.
Oh my god!
Because this Golden Superman is Clark Kent Superman from the future.
What do you mean from Clark? They're all Clark Kent Superman.
No. They're all people who have Superman powers, but they're not Clark Kent.
Wait, so he doesn't die since he's gold Superman.
You'll find out
Oh
at the end
my
of the story.
gosh.
So
When is the end?
When
I'll
is-
try to fast forward.
No, yeah.
Okay, so there's a plot where Kryptonian scientists come to Earth. They were off Krypton during its explosion.
Mm-hmm.
They too were exposed to the sun radiation, and they're gonna die too.
Okay.
They show up on Earth. They're like, we could rule this planet like gods. And Superman's like, you really shouldn't. And they're like, but we're gonna die. We might as well. And he's like, you shouldn't. And he tells them like, listen, let me put you in contact with the scientists I know.
Yep.
And also, let me put you guys in the Phantom Zone. The Phantom Zone is a pocket dimension that holds Kryptonian prisoners in kind of like individual realities, basically.
Yep.
It's like a pocket space with pocket spaces in it. And in there, your injuries and conditions can't kill you. You're immortal there, but nothing can hurt you. So there's not really a problem there. The only thing is you're trapped there, and there's kind of like nothing there. But Superman is like, I can put you guys there, you can stay alive, and you'll be together. Because they're like a husband and wife science duo. And they're like, okay, we'll do it. They go there, but they're also in contact with the human scientists, so they have someone to talk to. Next one is, so Bizarro Superman, right? That's a character we know. It's Superman, but he's opposite, and he's pretty funny. At this point in time, Bizarro had built his own planet.
Is it the cube?
It's the Cube. It's called Bizarro World, where bizarro versions of all characters exist. like Bat Zorro.
Wait, that's a thing?
Yeah, he's the world's worst detective,
Yay!
and he uses guns.
Yeah!
And his
It's just Rorschach. Like, that's literally just Rorschach.
his mission is chasing down families and alleys and then killing the parents.
Aw.
It's
Not-
just Rorschach. No.
Shut up. So he goes to Bizarro World because there's like a catastrophe happening, and he helps Bizarro solve the problem. And Bizarro is also like not dying,
Yeah.
so Superman's trying to impart onto him like, hey, be a good person, do good things, because you're basically me but opposite, and I'm gonna die, which means you're not gonna die. Just be good.
Yeah.
Please, for crying out loud. The next thing he does, and this part is the most Grant Morrison thing about this book. Superman's in the Fortress of Solitude, and he's thinking, I need to know what the world's going to be like if I'm not around. But while I'm doing that, I should also find out what the world would be like without me. What is a world without Superman? How does that look? So he uses science to create a pocket universe that copies his own universe, with the only thing changed being Superman never existing. So whether that be Krypton or his pod not landing, any of that shit, right?
Parents not banging.
Yeah, sure. But he creates a world where Superman doesn't exist. And it kind of like starts off in the 40s when you first see it. Do you want to know the world he creates?
Our
No.
world.
He creates our world.
Oh, boy.
And in this world, the first thing he sees are these two young Jewish boys going home and drawing, and they're talking about inventing a character for a comic book series called Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So in this, we see Superman create our world, and in our world, we see Jerry
creating Superman.
Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster creating Superman in 1930. And that's like a thing, because again, we did that. One of the best things about the Superman Viking book was that someone legit said, if Superman didn't exist, then the world would have to create him.
Oh my gosh.
So that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the final stretch of the book is that, so the sun, because Superman's dying, he is making his last adjustments. He can kind of feel himself dying, basically. His cells coming apart, that kind of thing. And he tells the robots, like, all right, listen, I'm putting a sequence on all of you that'll help you, will make you take care of the fortress, help out, like, visitors. Like, if Batman comes here, help him out. If the Justice League needs help, you can help him out. Like, he's just giving them protocols.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also releasing the alien animals back into space. Like, putting them back on their native homeworlds. Something he could have done a while ago.
Oh, dear God. Where's that baby Star Eater?
Mm-hmm.
He lets it free, and it doesn't eat the sun because it's grateful.
What the fuck? It's an animal.
Yeah.
That's
So-
a big food source right there.
So he's an animal. He's loyal to Superman. He's Superman's best friend. Except for Krypto.
For Crypto.
He's
Superman's best friend. He's in every Superman issue.
Superman and the Sun Eater.
The Sun Eater.
This fucking Cthulian monster. With a little Superman, like, hat on.
On Tentacle's got like the little flag.
You need a cape.
He goes to planet Mars,
Mm-hmm.
where Super League, Martian Manhunter, and Dr. Manhattan are sitting there naked.
Oh, yeah.
Other references.
Yeah.
But he goes to Mars, and he's got the bottled city of Kandor, and he opens it. And because of the solar radiation coming from the sun, all those tiny little Kandorians have superpowers. And he's like, be free! Live here on Mars, where you can't hurt anyone. And they're like, yeah! I'm fucking flying!
But they're still tiny.
Yeah.
And they could get to Earth.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a bunch of micro Supermen running around?
They've done a story kind of like that, where
Oh,
like
dude,
someone
Jesus.
shoots Superman with a gun and it goes through him, and he's like, "But how?" And it turns out to be a little Kandorian who like wants to fuck with Superman. Anyway, he released the Kandorians on Mars, and
Why
then
didn't you just do that from the beginning?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, maybe tried focusing on trying to shrink them back up, and
shrink them up
Or
you know what
bang Lois.
or bang low.
he was working on his Wumbo Ray, and it didn't turn out right.
Ray.
Blowing up the Titanic.
He, she, Wumbo.
Wumbo Wing. Apologies.
So. I have very fond Ace Ventura memories, I'm sorry. But, like, he releases the Kandorians, and, okay, so another Sun Eater shows up.
Of course it does.
a bigger Sun Eater, an adult Sun Eater.
Oh no, one that's not grateful to
and
Superman.
it shows up and it's like, a sun. Takes a little bite.
Neat.
I'm like Galactus, but smaller. So,
Um,
has a spoon.
plasma.
Yum. So the adult Sun Eater shows up, and it can talk.
Mm.
I guess when they get that old, they can talk. And Superman's like, what? It's like, what do you think?
Fuck.
What are you doing? Who are you? And this thing's like, I am the Sun Eater, scourge of worlds. And Superman's like, stop. And he's like, no, I'm just eating. I have no concept of good and evil. I'm just eating. Survival. I'm cognizant enough to know what good and evil are and to speak to you, but I'm primal enough that I just need to eat your son.
He could go and eat any other star he wanted.
No, Batman. So, so Superman's like, I gotta solve this problem. Meanwhile, on Earth, Lex is getting ready for the electric chair.
Yep.
They're like, all right, Lex, what do you want for your last drink? And he's like, actually, I prepared a wine in my room if you could go fetch it. And so they pour him a little bit of
Oh,
wine.
toilet wine.
It came from my body. He would be so egotistical just to drink his own piss before he dies. Notice how it's clear, that means no fat. No, so... He's like, what the fuck? I'm glad he's died. So...
So I looked up what that was.
So...
Beating you up.
So Lex pours his wine, he takes a sip, they get him in the chair, and they're waiting, and Lex is counting down from 3 to 1. They're like, what are you counting down for? You don't know when we're going to do this. And he's like, oh, I'm not counting down the chair. I'm counting down until the effects of my super serum affect me. And they're like,
What?
I'm like, what? And he breaks out. And he's like, I have Superman powers. Because he created a formula, much like Superman created, that gave him Superman's powers for a day.
Oh.
And he's like, it's Lex's time now, baby.
I'm gonna go be president.
He could
But
have
after the
escaped
effects
all
were
that
off,
time ago.
I get induced a really severe mental
He's like,
instability.
now first, I'm going to go to the Daily Planet. Not because I know Clark Kent is Superman, because I still don't know that. Because in actual lore, Lex can't believe that someone like Clark Kent could be Superman, so he just denies it. But he goes to the Daily Planet because Lois Lane has always talked shit about him through the publication. He's like, I'm going to go fuck up that publication that talks crap about me. I'm not a bad man. Snaps neck, flies away. I'm not bad, right? Yeah, you're not bad. Good answer. So he goes to the Daily Planet. Superman, meanwhile, like, defeats the Sun Eater, tells him to fuck off, and the Sun Eater's like, oh, goes away.
Bye.
Bye. And then
I'll come back in
Superman,
60 years.
and like, Superman comes back to Earth,
It's just this giant fucking thing that's
and it's the final showdown between Lex and Superman. These two people that are destined to die are both superpowered. They're having a stare down, and Lex is like, after
get it. No.
yeah, he is like that.
Oh.
Because after a few minutes, he's like, having Superman's powers gives him the same vision, the same hearing, the same sight of everything on a molecular level. He starts to, like, understand how Superman sees the world, and he gets it. And he's like, this is how you see the world all the time. It's no wonder you're always saving it. Because everything is finite. Everything is going to die. The moments we have are precious with the time we have left, and everything is subject to go away. And Lex sees that. And immediately Lex is like, but I deny that! He's like, if it weren't for you, Superman, I could have saved the world. I could have cured cancer. I could have cured hunger. I could have turned every city into another metropolis if it weren't for you existing. And Superman is like, bitch, you could have done that anyway. This has nothing to do with me and my powers. It has everything to do with you and your jealousy. You could have saved the world and you didn't.
Yeah, get fucked. Sits on Cloud, flies away.
Does the suck it thing.
Slowly floats away. Come on, Cloud, go faster.
Nimbus!
Nimba!
But Lex is like, fuck you! And Superman's like, well, fuck you. And they fight, and he beats Lex out there until Lex's powers run out. I guess it wasn't for a day, because the fight takes half a day. And Lex is defeated, he's arrested, and the Sun, meanwhile...
Oh dear God, does the fucking Sun Eater come back?
No, because of the effect that the Sun Eater had on the Sun, like ate half of it, basically.
Uh-huh.
And Superman's like, I have to go. The Sun needs me.
Oh my gosh.
He flies to the Sun and disappears into it. And all the energy he absorbed from the Sun at first, the thing that's killing him, like I said, he was going to explode. He explodes in the Sun, which gives it the other half of its, like, strength back. his death revives the sun.
Interesting.
And everyone's like, he's dead. He's fucking dead, bro. A few days later, they're holding a funeral for, like, Clark Kent's death. I think debris fell on him.
Mm-hmm.
So Superman flies to the sun, revives it. The world is like, Superman's dead. And they're like, I guess Clark Kent's dead. I guess debris fell on him or something. I don't know. Fuck. It's Clark
Space
Kent.
debris.
Who cares? It's Clark fucking Kent. Anyway, they're at the funeral, and Jimmy Olsen notices that Lois Lane isn't at Clark's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to see her later, and he's like, it's really fucked up. He didn't show up to Clark's funeral. He's dead. and I guess at this point, the both of them know that Clark is Superman. And Lois is like, oh, Superman's not dead. He's in the sun. He's fixing it. And when he's done fixing it, he'll come back for me.
Now this book started with him with a full skeleton of Lois Lane just in his closet. He literally had a skeleton in his closet.
Now, here's the thing, and this is what I want to ask you. So this ending, right,
Yeah.
is representative of the riddle at the beginning. The unstoppable force, the immovable object, they both surrender. Superman dies in the sun. Lex Luthor goes back to prison, accepts his death. And the super scientists, also at the end of this book, are like, the last thing Superman gave us, something we discovered by working with the Kryptonian scientists,
Was life.
his genetic makeup, so we can copy him and make a new Superman
Oh, Jesus
to
Christ.
continue the Kryptonian race, which is how the Golden Superman exists, which implies he didn't die in the sun, he just became a god.
I can't roll my eyes hard enough.
It also implies where the future Superman came from and how their progeny becomes a thing.
So a Superman did die in the sun.
Yes.
Okay.
And they
that's-
use genetics to remake him.
You know, I'm pissed, because that means Superman did die. And everybody else that I talked to was like, no! He just came back as a god!
Hear me out, right? So that's how that ends. It's the whole metaphor is like Superman and Lex both die, but Superman's like legacy continues, but they both die, right?
Yeah.
In the animated version, they changed the ending a little bit.
Yeah.
Where when we see the scientists being like, oh yeah, we have the thing to create Superman again, they're like, oh, where did we get it? Before Lex's death, he created the Superman genetic code and gave it to us. And he did that because at that moment he realized Superman was always right. And I was in the wrong. And the last thing I can contribute is Superman's legacy continuing.
Villains don't change.
Well, that's the thing. That implies that the riddle was wrong, and that in his last moments, Superman reached Lex Luthor. He did the impossible and changed a man who couldn't be changed.
The Sphinx actually was important.
Yeah, the Sphinx mattered.
The Sphinx was important! Why was it important?
So I'm going to ask you guys a few things. David,
Mm-hmm.
which ending do you like better?
I liked the comic book ending.
Okay, kind of just left it open.
Kind of like left it open for speculation because they're like, oh, we can make a clone of Superman, or we don't.
What was your favorite part, like your favorite portion? Because there's a lot of stuff that happens.
I like the stuff with Lex
In the
because,
prison?
like, even though Lex is full of himself
Bald asshole.
and he kind of gave Superman a few pointers, but Superman was like, "You're a fucking idiot."
Yeah.
Because Lex Luthor does have the ability to be like, yeah, I can cure this, I can do that, but,
Yeah.
but you're in my way.
It's all your
It's like,
fault. You're the
I'm
reason
just
I'm
a-
fucked up.
I'm just a guy that fights stuff that people can't really fight.
Yeah, like I have nothing to do with you. I actually have nothing to do with you.
I do me and you do you,
Yeah.
but you're literally just being like, I have the cure for Alzheimer's, but this guy fighting a giant tentacle monster says I can't.
What did you think of the story in general? Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman.
It was definitely interesting. It was alright, I guess. It was kind of weird at some points.
What kept
'cause,
it from
like,
being great?
Doomsday Bucky?
Doomsday Jimmy.
Doomsday Jimmy.
What? That's the part that was totally key
Wait,
to the
did
plot.
Doomsday Jimmy come back and have any relevance there?
No.
It didn't
It's the only
do
time that
anything for the story. We had Superman's, like, one of his, like,
Best
big
friends.
three.
Yeah.
Two of his big three show up in this.
Yeah.
And it just, no, nothing. That's a
I just-
Doomsday Jimmy, come on!
I just didn't
Explode
like
that
how
shit.
Doomsday Jimmy was flesh colored.
He was
and it
great.
had. Was he great?
He was
looked-
great.
He looked flesh
When
colored.
he depowered, he started turning flesh color.
Okay. I kind of glanced at a panel. I was like, "Is that fucking flesh.
I like that
Colored
that was the
Doomsday?
part about Jimmy Doomsday that you hated.
No, it was pretty
He was a
rad. He
Okay.
just kind of like fucking dumped himself.
Okay.
I was like, yo, let's fucking go.
All right, M. Which ending do you like better?
Can neither be an option? Kind of like the one where Superman just dies and we move on.
Favorite part of the book where Superman
I-
dies and we move on.
Yeah. No. My favorite part was actually when, it's Lois's birthday, and so, Superman's like, hey, let's go on a date and save the world. And two other guys are like, hey, no, you should date me instead.
When shads him.
What'd you think of the story in general?
I could hear the drugs.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be real honest.
Okay. Catherine, which ending do you like better?
Okay, so about halfway through all this nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, this reminds me of the book The Once and Future King,
Okay.
which is the same book that you see Magneto reading in the cell for X-Men, and Professor X kind of, does anyone read this? Blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
And I actually did a book report on this book, and it is one of the only books that I've ever hated,
Okay.
because it is so extra,
Okay.
and the author, T.H. White,
Mhm.
freaking bounces all over. Like, it's supposed to be about King Arthur,
Mm-hmm.
and it just bounces fucking all over. And then at very no points it goes off and talks about Lancelot for several chapters for no fucking reason, and it never draws it all in, which completely reminds me of this nonsense. So extra. So like how does the Titanic play into any of this? Like this or the two guys that are fighting over her. This they
It
never
plays into the ending,
They-
which I'll repeat. Which ending did you like, Catherine?
The guys at the two guys that fought over Lois at the end for this book didn't have any relevance to the whole
The
thing.
dude bros, yeah.
Oh,
Hey, they looked to the
Atlas and
Sphinx,
Samson.
and the Sphinx was important.
oh my gosh.
What was your? I guess I kind of asked you for it.
I don't know. I guess for the only reason that I might like the book better than the other ending is just because it's more plausible to me that Superman would have given the scientist his own genetic makeup versus Lex Luthor suddenly being able to create all of Superman's genetic makeup himself.
All right. Seth, which ending do you like better?
So I'll agree with Catherine on that one. Superman giving his DNA
Much more plausible.
instead of Lex being like, "Hey, I figured it out."
Is that
Here.
Okay? Well, here's the thing. We know
Yeah.
how smart Lex is.
No. It's totally possible that he could
Is that
do
a
it. It's just
plausibility
not
thing
in his
character
Yeah,
thing?
it's not in his
You
character.
can't
to be
believe
like,
that Superman could reach Lex.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not at all. Lex thinks he's above Superman in every way, shape, and form.
It just seems like a Disney movie ending that Lex suddenly turns
And-
good.
And if they're
Whoa.
both on their own path, it does make that riddle mean shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Although it might be like an egotistical thing where Lex Luthor can't.
I'm the guy that killed Superman. I'm gonna be the one that brings him back.
Or it can be like
Yeah.
a Batman Joker thing, like one can't survive without the other.
Yeah, I want to fuck him, so I'm gonna bring him back.
Yeah.
But he's dead. He's dead anyway.
I guess I can set up with a corpse.
Lex, favorite or Seth, favorite part of the book?
I just like I like seeing Lex freak out on people.
He's beating
I
the
like
shit out
se-
of Parasite.
Well, I like seeing him lose his shit because he's always like so calm all the time. Yeah, and then just him just walking up to this other super dude and just be like, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you!" Like,
Not even knowing Superman.
yeah, just shooting this guy, and like Superman's like, "Dude, that's fucked." Like,
yeah, it is. With one eyebrow
I
missing.
just trying to remember my other favorite part is Lex Luthor
draws his eyebrow.
not drawing his eyebrow on, but like working out
Yeah.
and being like,
Yeah.
"What is this new language? It's just shorthand. What the fuck is this? It's just shorthand."
I must learn you.
Teach me.
For being a
Teach
genius,
me.
you think you know
Scribbles.
that.
Teach me.
Teach me the ways.
He's running on a treadmill with weights, being like, "Fuck is shorthand.
Feel my muscle.
Feel my muscle.
Alright,
Do it."
what Lowe's doing tonight? Me! Ha!
God damn it, Lex. You asshole.
Oh yeah, I learned shorthand.
He's working out with Zack Snyder. Anyway,
What did you think of the book in general?
It felt like half of those short stories in it did not need to be there,
Thank
or
you.
could have been just separate issues.
No, hold on.
In
I'm speaking as Grant Morrison.
Hold on.
Hold on, those stories are important to the overall plot. You don't understand. It's all
like, why did we need? Like,
no,
okay,
no. It's all very metaphorical to Superman's overall journey. It's his trials.
no.
Well, you gotta understand. I got really high, and I thought, how fucking sweet would it be
That
said
I
his
believe.
face.
if Superman had the Titanic?
Like that whole part.
That's the peyote right there.
Why couldn't he have just? You could have shortened that down to like Clark just reveals he's Superman. As like, by the way, drink this yellow shit.
No. We had to
They
have.
needed to have dinner on the
They need-
Titanic with fucking weird
And-
robots
and
and shit.
remember, we need to have that Superman has all of Lois Lane's body scans.
Now here's the other part.
Yeah, what
That's completely gone. The whole main first part of this book was I need to impress Lois. It's her birthday. Blah blah blah. And when she needs to go out and have a good
Well, her
time.
birthday ended. No one has multiple birthdays in the span of a week. Come on,
But
come on. You're not gonna
she
apologize.
just disappeared.
Well, yeah, she's a reporter. She's got busy shit to do.
What the fuck?
No, she
What was
only
the point
exists
of
on
her
her
skeleton?
birthday.
She
That's
only
it.
exists on her birthday.
Her skeleton's part of her genetic makeup.
Oh my
So it's not going to surprise anyone that I like this book. I get that a lot of parts are like, Grant, why? Like, why did Superman create our world? Like, what?
Yeah, like that. That had no relevance to anything.
Now you see, it's all metaphorical.
He creates our world, and then it's like, oh yeah,
It's,
look at
it's to
that.
prove
That's
that
neat.
it's to prove that you and Superman are only a mirror's length away.
Oh.
Am I?
Yeah. Am I though?
And like, look, the parts I like about the book are the parts where I'm like, that is what Superman would do if he knew he was going to die.
Yeah.
If he knew he was going to die, he'd try to do something with the Kandorians.
Exactly.
If he knew he was going to die, he'd visit his dad back in time for one last conversation.
Yeah.
Because he knew he missed on it the first time. But, like, the part where Samson and Atlas show up, listen,
Yeah, like what?
listen,
Thank you.
I've been reading comics for a long time. I like to think I'm a pretty good historian on the whole thing. I do not remember at any point Superman meeting Atlas and Samson. But apparently Grant says it happened. But, like, that...
It's because they're only a mirror's length away.
The Bizarro thing didn't have to be there.
Yeah, what?
The scientists didn't have to be there.
It
Doomsday
sounds like-
Jimmy.
this whole book was just Superman opening his contacts in his phone and going like, "Oh fuck, I gotta call Bizarro." Like, shit.
I will say though, I did like the little thing of, oh man, something's wrong with my dad,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
that's the one thing Superman can't stop.
Yeah.
That I really liked.
Okay. And I like Lex's portrayal in this book. And I know you guys thought it was creepy, but I like that whole portion with Superman and Lois. It's fucked up. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it is fucked, but
but
yeah,
there's
it's cool.
explanations
Oh.
behind it.
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
We just have to talk about how creepy he got.
Like,
I mean, what-
there's
how-
some Stockholm
that he got
syndrome going on
All
there.
right,
with her.
here. You know what? I'll put this in your hands. If you were Superman, how would you approach that situation? Would you just open with the superpowers thing? Or would you leave it a surprise? Because he left it a surprise. That's why he didn't tell her about it.
I definitely would not show her the skeleton of herself.
He didn't show that to her. She wandered into that room.
I would put a lock on that door. Like,
I don't
you
believe
get
in
him at
locks.
Home Depot for $10.
He doesn't believe in locks,
Except for the door.
for the one to the main door of the
I
house.
like that too.
think
I love the
way
key.
I think the way I would personally handle it is, I would ask her, "Do you want to know what I have planned now, or do you want to leave it up as a surprise?"
Well, because he was working on it the whole time. So, I guess he just wanted to leave a surprise. But, yeah, I get it. It's weird. It's weird, alright?
Mm-hmm.
I will say, a while ago, Seth and I talked about what my ideal Superman movie would be. And I still want to do a sequel to that at some point in a panel pitch podcast.
Yep.
And my sequel for whatever my Superman movie was would be like half of this.
Thank you.
All right.
The good half of it. But yeah, that is All-Star Superman, the book that launched the All-Star line, that got enough readers' attention and enough
And then
readers.
the second book ended the
Yeah.
All-Star line.
Think about that for
Yeah.
a minute. This book is fucking confusing and weird, and it didn't kill the line. Frank did. So let
Yeah.
that sit in. Go to panelbiter.podbean.com, panelbiter.blogspot.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Peace.